Truthseeker and or its affiliates are not responsible for any strange phenomena that may occur during or after listening to this podcast, which may include the following: heightened senses of awareness, psychic abilities, UFO sightings, alien contact, time loss, out-of-body experiences, ringing in the ears, ESP, lucid dreaming, increased synchronicities, astral projection, telepathy, stronger intuition, levitation, miraculous healings, and or remote viewing. Please be advised to listen at your own discretion.
Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? To a place to walk on troubled seas, faith to stand when I don't believe. I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come?
You are now locked into the Truth Seeker podcast.
Gargoyles! Psychics! Everything's ungodly! Dark Savage!
Streaming live at truthseeker.com.
She's not a Christian!
Give it up, y'all.
Your portal to the paranormal, esoteric, and all things spiritual.
She's tampering in dark sided stuff!
And now, your host, Truth Seeker.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Truth Seeker. This is the Truth Seeker podcast. What is up? Excited, delighted to be with you guys tonight. We're doing this show tonight, right after our School of the Mystics session. So shout out to everybody who was there with us tonight. Had a good little session, good discussion. And joining us over here in the live stream now on YouTube. Shout out to everybody supporting my work through Patreon. If you want to support the podcast, support the music, and get cool stuff, head on over to patreon.com/truthseeker. There you can get access to my entire discography, and you get access to the School of the Mystics and a bunch of other cool stuff that's over there. Head on over, check it out. Want to thank some of the some of the newest members within the last 5 days, actually. A couple new people. Shout out to Emery Marie Diaz, Classic Cosmopolitan. This is the name they signed up as, guys, not me. The next person signed up under the name Decaying. Shout out, man. What's up? Welcome to the fold. And my good friend, Cache Milan. Welcome. You've been supporting my work for some time now, man. I remember ever since I first started doing this esoteric spiritual hip hop under LCOB several years back, literally several years back, 2011, 2012, you purchased Awaken the Fire, man. You've been rocking with me ever since. So shout out to you for finally coming on and supporting my work through Patreon, man. Head on over there. You get access to a bunch of cool stuff and my full discography. It's well worth it. Head on over there. It'll change your life, really. With that being said, I'm going to welcome in my guest for the evening and publicly say welcome to the show, Danny Guerrero. And thank you publicly for supporting my work. You've been a patron for several months now, man, believing in my work and what I'm doing here on the podcast and my music. So thank you, man, from the bottom of my heart. It really means a lot. Thank you for believing in my vision, man.
Likewise, bro. First and foremost, I just want to thank you, bro, because last year I was really depressed. And I was still in church and stuff, but once I got out of that, I was still lost, bro. And then once we're going to get into it, but my grandma passed away and I was really depressed, bro. I started drinking like every day.
Yeah.
I don't know and I don't know why, bro. It's just, I've never really experienced something like that. So when I started hearing you, bro, you helped me break a lot of those chains, bro, like for real. And through God, though, just a lot of revelations, bro, that like I've gotten just because of listening to your podcast. So first and foremost, I want to thank you, bro, honestly, because you've helped a lot, bro. And despite what all the hatred and you've gotten throughout the years, I mean, I've seen it, bro. It's petty. It's petty because I don't think they know who you really are, bro. Even those people who think they know who you are, they don't.
I'll say this: they've since, I don't know if you've been paying attention. I'm not going to say their names, but some of the people that you have seen have since, within the last week, as I spoke, they have come back and apologized. Within the last week, I knew it was going to happen. You know, praying for them. You know what I'm saying, and everything. So there's no ill will. But I remember that first time I talked to you on the phone, man. I remember that first phone call. I remember I was pacing out in the backyard, man. I was out in the backyard talking with you. We talked for a good while, man, just encouraging you where you were. And like you said, you were still in church and stuff and just transitioning a little bit. So I remember that first phone call, man. And stories like this is why I do what I do. And all the, you know, doesn't matter what type of hatred or what type of negativity comes my way. You, and there's so many people out there like you, bro, who have questions that no one wants to entertain or answer, or if you're different, you're ostracized and laughed at and mocked in those little religious systems, dude. And I got a problem with that, man. I really do. So because I've been through it. So my heart goes out to people who are having spiritual awakenings and have nobody to talk to. So we're here for each other, man. It's cool that you support my show. It's cool that you support my work. And it's cool because I have a pool of people to bring on and interview. Like I've interviewed a lot of people who are patrons who support the work, and people who are joined in the School of the Mystics with us. Because they're all really cool people. Like they all have a story. Like if you're listening, most people who listen to this show, it's deeper than entertainment. It's not just like to pass the time. Like it's something deep down within you that resonates with you. So we're going to get into your story tonight. I mean, I can just go down the list, man. Adam Starseed, Chris Bars, Christy Lee. And I'm going to mess up if I don't name people now. Help me out here. Joshua Fluman, Joshua, what's his name? The guy who makes the wood and stuff. Davis. Joshua Davis. And I could probably keep going. There's a bunch of people. I know I can keep going who support the work and I've had on here as guests and stuff, man, because all have something to contribute, something beautiful to add that will help people, right? Everybody has a story. Everybody's needed. Everybody has a place. So with that being said, bro, the feeling is mutual. Thank you for the support, man, and I'll support you. I really do. Let's get started, bro. Let's hear your story. Why you why you attracted to this type of material, the Bible, spirituality, mysticism. Like where does it start from you that kind of got you into stuff thinking outside the box, or just religion in general, man?
For sure, bro. Well, I just want to start off, when I was born, I mean, I actually have memories being in my mother's womb. And it's crazy because I ask people that they do remember that, and some of them don't. A lot of times they don't, but I did. And it's really weird, because I'm like, why was I chosen to have that type of memory? And so throughout the years, basically, as I was growing up, I was introduced to the spiritual realm at a really early age. I was like 4 or 5 years old. Really similar story to you, bro. Like I woke up in the middle of the night and I couldn't move, and you can see like a spirit in the room. And it's so weird because how do you explain that? Like you're 4 or 5 years old, and I couldn't even sleep by myself till I was 9 or 10 years old, bro. Like that's how serious it was.
Yeah.
It was so serious. And my parents didn't really understand though at first, they're like, yo, why can't you sleep by yourself? It's just like, yo, I can't. I would explain it to them. But sometimes I feel like they just wouldn't understand. Maybe it was just like, oh, he just had a little nightmare or something. Nah.
Well, let me ask you this about that though. Was your parents into drug use or witchcraft?
No.
Wow. Yeah.
My parents are Christians, bro. Like they were evangelicals. like I said, at first they were skeptical, not skeptical, but like they were just like, oh, maybe it's just like a normal nightmare or something. He's just having nightmares. But it wasn't like that, bro. Cause like, you know, nightmares is like you're in a dream, but this is different. Like you're awake, but you can't move. And the thing is, you're consciously awake and notice it. Like you notice that you can't move, but you can move your eyes, and you're just like, what's going on? And
something's in the room with you.
You can't talk though. Like you're trying to call for help or something, but you can't talk. And then it's like, and then you see like a spirit or like pretty much like a witch, like in your chest or something, like screaming into your ear, bro. Like I had that so many times, and I never understand why I had that. And I remember like, it's because throughout my life I moved a lot of times. Like I was living in the suburbs in Chicago. Then I moved out to the East Coast. Then I moved back to the Midwest. And when I was living in Chicago, I started telling my grandma about this. And what she started doing, because my family and I, we were actually living in my grandparents' basement at first because they had an apartment. So I was on the second floor, but I was sleeping on the second floor with my grandparents. Like they had an extra room for me. And I would tell my grandma about these experiences I would have with my grandma. Like, why do I have this? See, with her though, like she started like, you know what? Like I'm gonna start like writing these Bible verses, and what she would do is just like make like a poster, like a bunch of like little posters, and just like write Bible verses and post it on my room. Like that's how serious it was, bro. I mean, you know, that's how serious it was. And I'm like, and that really got me mad though, because like at first, because I'm like, why am I keep getting these like dreams? I mean, not even dreams, but these experiences, these encounters. Like, what does this even mean? Like, because at that time,
were you watching scary movies and stuff?
A little bit, bro. Like, I mean, I did grow up watching movies, but like, I don't know, bro. I have no idea. It's just, I was just so confused. And even though I was going to church and everything, like I had an idea who Christ was and what he was about. Like, I don't know. It was just really weird. And then it really got to a point, like, I don't know how to explain, bro, but I basically got mad because I kept getting those encounters. Because to me, it was like, okay, God, if you're real, then why are you letting me get scared? You know, like, why am I like? It was just confusing, bro. That's why I believe like spiritual warfare, like 100%. Because like you said, they're like strongholds in your mind. They're trying to mess with you. So I don't know how to explain, bro. I kind of grew up kind of angry in a way. I got along with everybody, you know, like I wasn't a weird person. Like I didn't have any friends or anything. I did have friends. But I was a bit angry though in a way, because I don't know how to explain, bro. It's just
I'm starting to feel like, man, and we talked about this today on the podcast. I don't know if you heard it, but I'm starting to feel like people who have had those encounters when they're children, when you're a little kid, an innocent child, and you have those night terrors or those beings coming into your room, almost feel like you're marked from birth to do great things on the earth, and the enemy is trying to scare you, is trying to stop what God has for your life. And I think because the majority of the people I've talked to, my friends that I know, are people who have big callings on their life, and they all have had weird childhood paranormal encounters when they were toddlers even, you know?
Yeah, bro. It's crazy because one of my cousins in Mexico, I remember we were talking, and one thing I always noticed growing up is like she would never sleep by herself. And she was way older than me, bro. She's like in her 30s now, but like she's like 30 years old, I believe. But it's just crazy because like we would talk about this, and like I would ask her like, what would you feel? And she would tell me, and I'm like, that's the same thing I had. Yeah. And it's just crazy because I'm like, no wonder why like I've never seen you sleep by yourself. Like she always had to sleep like in my aunt's room, you know? Like, and I was like, what's up with that? You know, and like I'm not trying to put her business out like that, but it just helps you realize like, yo, this is not a game. Like, because if you look at scientists, they'll be like, oh, that's just a sleep paralysis thing. It's like something with your brain or something.
I get that. Yeah. I mean, I get the fact that you wake up, but your body's still asleep, and there's, you know, whether it's DMT released on your brain, you know what I'm saying, and your pineal gland, and you're still kind of sleeping awake. I get that. But where does the demon come into play? Like, why is there always a demon or a little man in the corner? Why can't there be a unicorn in the corner? Why can't there be, you know, a truck in your room? Like, what's the deal? Why is it a little man on your chest and a old lady and these archetypes that have been going on for, man, thousands of years? It goes back, man. There's reports of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. Something's definitely going on there, man. I've had those encounters too.
I think like one of the most scariest one though is when I was sleeping next to my little sister, because I have two sisters. The other one's like, she's like the second oldest. But like I remember I was sleeping next to her, and I remember like in the middle of the night I woke up and I couldn't move, bro. But like I was facing the opposite direction, but like it's crazy because I could still see like, and it was weird, like at the back of my head, like
you
what
knew
was right
it was
next
looking
to me.
at you.
Bro, it was the most scariest thing ever, bro. Yeah. Because this one, I've never had an experience like this one. Because this one actually started to growl at me, like super demonic, bro. And I still remember that image in my head, like it was yesterday. And I remember like I wanted to cry so bad, but like I wasn't trying to, because like I wasn't trying to wake up my sister, you know. But I was just like, just imagine, just like you're crying, but you're not trying to cry because there's like a demonic.
I've been there, bro. It's scary. Yeah.
And that's the thing, though. People, like, if you tell that to certain people, they're like, "Are you okay?" Like, I think you're just, you know how like some psychiatrists or quote unquote professionals say they're like, "Oh, you must be something's wrong with you mentally." Like, you know, it's like, nah, bro. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm good. Like, I know what's going on. I just don't believe like that whole science thing.
Yeah, my sister, several years ago was dating a guy, and they were just talking about, you know, talk about God and the spirit world, and do you believe in aliens? You know, they was having that talk, and she told him about my encounters and mentioned about me, you know, waking up in the middle of the night, being pinned down to my bed when I was a child and couldn't move and couldn't scream and all that stuff. She told that to the guy. He started busting out in tears. This was a grown man. He started breaking out in tears, crying. She's like, "What's wrong?" He said, "Because I had that same thing happen to me as a kid, but he said, I've never told anyone for fear that people would think I'm crazy." This guy has held this with him his whole life. He's in his 30s and hasn't even mentioned it for fear of ridicule or you're crazy or maybe it's in your head. You know, he broke down and cried to my sister talking about that, man. That shows you how deep this stuff is.
Oh yeah, bro. It definitely is. But then I don't know, once my mom started noticing that like I wasn't playing, you know, because like not playing, but like I wasn't exaggerating. Then they were like, okay, what's going on? Like then they started to tell me you should pray, read these Bible verses, like maybe it's like the enemy or something. And I really did think it was all of that. But then at the end of the day, I was like, well, why is this still happening? Like, I don't understand. That's what turned me off a little bit about church too throughout my years, because I was having those memories. And it's just crazy, bro, because after that time, like I started getting addicted to pornography. I was like 12, 13 years old. Like, you know, I lost my virginity when I was like 13 years old, bro. So it's like, that shouldn't have happened, you know? Like, I don't care what anybody says, but like back in the day, I really didn't see how sexual was really, like sex is spiritual. Yeah. I didn't realize that till now. Like not now,
special.
But when I started growing spiritually, it's crazy, bro. Because I'm like, yeah, I kind of wish I never had sex, low key, like that at that young age, because dude, sex is addicting, bro. Like pornography.
Yeah, you know what? And we're talking about science. I really like when science and spirituality complement one another. You know what I'm saying? So there's science now that's proven that. So we talk about spiritual soul ties, that like when you have sex and you come together with someone, in the scriptures, that's your wife. Jesus said, he who joins himself to a harlot has become one flesh. Like in the Old Testament, when that was your marriage vow, was that blood covenant, right? And so there's so much spirituality that ties in with that, with the Hebrew customs and mysticism and coming together with that person and sealing the deal. And now science is starting to say, oh yeah, you never get rid of the DNA of the person that you have slept with. And they're like, science has proven this now, and you wonder why you can't quit thinking about the one who got away and pray. You got to pray these people out of your mind, and you can never get them crazy, out, bro. Man. It's deep.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that though. That science has been proving that lately.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Holy crap! No,
Yeah,
I didn't know that,
there's a
bro.
bunch of articles out there about it now. Yeah, it's deep. Like you hold the DNA from your ex-lovers. Why you can't quit thinking about them. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, dude. I can definitely see that though. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, I just, like, I'm not saying like I had a lot of sex, but I just really wish I would have like understood more the spiritual side of that. Cause, dude, we're trained. Like, I don't know about, cause you know how it is, bro. This is America. Like, like if you really think about it, I feel like they promote a lot of sex, even subconsciously, whether you recognize it or not.
It sells. It
It's like,
sells. It catches your attention. You know.
that's what I'm saying, bro. And it's just like, I don't know. I just feel like they're there for a purpose though. Like all these advertisements with like sex and stuff. I feel like they're there because I don't know. I was watching this good documentary regarding about like why sex is sacred, and it was just saying that like one of the biggest reasons because it's like well for the male sperm it's like creative energy or something like that that like and that is pure spiritual.
Yeah.
And I don't know,
Oh
it's
man,
really
there's
crazy, bro.
I mean, you look into tantra, you look into sex magic,
Yo,
holding your semen in. I mean, there's a bunch of, we don't have to go in deep on this, but when you get into like the Masonic rituals and stuff, there's a lot of stuff with your semen, and we'll end that there. We won't have to go into too deep on that. Maybe on another one, but let's carry on with your story, man. So having all these encounters and stuff, and growing up, kind of getting mad at God because of all of this stuff happening to you. Then what's the next move?
Well, I don't know. Basically, I went through high school. You know, like everybody has their good times and bad times. There's a lot of stuff I wish I never done in high school, man. Like I don't know. I was a really like at one point I really became petty. I'm not gonna lie, because I just thought like stealing was okay, like robbing people.
I always felt like stealing from stores was okay. I didn't like stealing from people, but I thought like stealing from an establishment, a Walmart, Kmart was okay. You know, it's not,
Yeah.
but you try to justify it.
Exactly, bro. And like I stole from my family, bro, and it's so petty because like I wish I never done that, bro. Like that's petty. Like why would I'd never do that to my parents ever again. Like that's my parents. Like
Yeah.
it's like loyalty, bro.
Yep.
And it's just like I've never done that ever again though to anybody, like to my parents or my family or my friends or anybody. You know, I've never like really robbed my friends, but like I would like rob people who I acted like they were my friends. You know, so it's like
Yeah, I did that too a lot as I was a misguided
karma,
youth.
bro. So like, but I don't know. Basically, after high school, though, like it's weird because like I had a psilocybin trip, a magic mushroom, and like I never really tried it at first. So when I first tried it, I don't know how to explain it, bro. It was crazy. Like I remember I was with my friends. We were at this dude's house, and we had got them in the capsules, like pill capsules, but they were broken down. And I took it. I remember like I didn't feel it at first, but like after like an hour and a half or 2 hours later, like it was kicking in really hard. And it's crazy, bro, because like at first I thought it was because most people who tell you like, I mean, not most people, but like a lot of hype when it comes to psilocybin. Like they tell you like, oh, you start seeing this and it's true.
Pink elephants and stuff.
Yeah, like it's. I mean, you do see some stuff, but like it's not like that exaggerating like they make it seem.
Yeah.
But one thing I definitely noticed though is like, dude, that was so spiritual. Cause like I remember like I went home. I had left my friends and I went home. And this is when I was by myself, just in my room. And I remember it was like 12 in the morning, bro. And it was just crazy because like I was just like I was just thinking stuff I've never thought about before. Cause I was just like, who am I? Like all of a sudden I started asking these strange questions like, who am I? Who are we all? Like who are we, bro? Cause after high school, like you kind of get into college because I was going to college too. And then you start researching about mainstream science and like philosophy that basically backs up atheists. I mean,
yeah.
Like, so like I was confused, you know? So, but when I took that, I started thinking way more deep stuff I never thought about before though. Like one of the main things I've really like kept thinking about when I was on that, I was like, yo, I feel like I'm the same person. Like everybody, like we're the same person. Like, on a mystical level, bro. I don't know how to explain.
Hmm.
Like, and it's crazy because I started getting that revelation a little bit later, like years later though.
Yeah.
Like not, it wasn't even at that time, bro. And that was only a psychedelic trip. Like, and like at first I didn't know what I felt, but I know I felt something. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like I was able to understand it though later when I started understanding more spiritual stuff. Cause I'm like, yo, like all this stuff that I felt there, it was all like all the oneness, bro. Like I really felt that when I was on. And the reason why I say it is because like I started, like I said, I one of the main things I started thinking about was I feel like I'm the same person. Like everybody's the same person, just like in different bodies. Like I don't know how to explain, bro. And then it was crazy because like I'm like, nah, like I don't like nah, like that can't be true. But I'm like, I don't know why would I think that though? Because the main thing that I noticed too is like I had really strong empathy for people, bro. Like empathy, like all of a sudden, like I saw a different perspective. And like the next day after that, like I really, like it kind of changed me. It really did. Cause I remember I felt happy, bro. Like I was really depressed at that time too. Like I just don't know how to explain. And then I started doing research about that. And they even said that there's like published medical, like peer-reviewed journals that are coming out showing and proving that psilocybin is healthy for like if you want to treat for depression.
Yeah.
Like that's no joke, like I can understand some people abuse it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, I'm not encouraging that, but I definitely do believe it's like medicine, bro. Like,
Yeah,
like
definitely is a medicine.
way better medicine than like what we're actually told compared to like pharmaceutical, like drugs and stuff like that. It's just,
Yep.
it just helped me embrace nature more too, like, so I don't know. After that though, like I remember I started taking acid. I took acid like maybe a couple months later after that. But with that was so different because I became like, I became depressed again, like all of a sudden. But that's because like the people, like when I took it, I was around with a couple of my friends and people that I used to be friends with. And it was crazy because like we were all thinking similar stuff, like literally the same thing. Like, and it's just like, yo, like that's insane, bro. Like how like everybody takes one substance and everybody's thinking the same thing. But this time it was pretty shady though, because people were like
shady people, man. Yeah, you got to be careful.
Because because some people were saying, I mean, not all people, but some people that I remember saying this, they were like, yo, I feel like we're just here to make money. Like that's the meaning like of life. Like nobody cares about one another. I feel like we're just here for money.
Yeah.
And like the thing is, like I did kind of believe that at first because, like I said, I was confused, bro. It's just that's why I don't really encourage anybody to take acid, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I really don't though. Like I've taken like I smoke weed. I've taken psilocybin, but with acid,
man-made.
I don't recommend that. I don't recommend that at all, bro. Because if you look, even the CIA was known to use that against their victim. They targeted innocent people to see how they would react, and that's messed up, bro. Like our own government did that with acid.
Mm-hmm.
Not even shrooms or weed. It's acid. So that's why I'm pretty skeptical too about acid. Like if you do some research about this, like there is some good side to it, I guess. But then again, not all of it. Like definitely not all of it.
Yeah, I stay away from anything synthetic, and then they argue that it's not synthetic, it's natural, blah 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 blah. But man, if you can't go out there in nature and pick it up and consume it, and I would say you're getting in the pharmakia when you have to blend things up and make it a certain type of way and add this and take that away, and you know what I'm saying? It gets in the pharmakia, I think. But if you can just go out there, walk into a pasture and pick up a mushroom and then talk to God, like there's a big difference there. And it helps you. It cures depression and all kinds of stuff, man. It's insane. The stuff that psilocybin has been proven to do.
Yeah, one thing too I want to say, like I forgot to say this, but one thing I realized too when I was on shrooms, and I heard you say it before too, I think, is that like you kind of realize at that moment, in a way, like that you're eternal, that you're always gonna live forever. Like I've gotten that same feeling too. That's why I think I believe like I came down from my depression too, because I started getting that revelation in a way like, yo, everything's gonna be okay. Like this is not the end. Like life is not the end.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's you know, they've given it to cancer patients who you know, were near death, and they've overcome their fear of dying, and that's one thing that it's been proven to do. Help people overcome the fear of dying.
Yo, no, yeah, I've seen that evidence too, bro. But basically, you know, after that bad acid trip, like I literally this time I've literally like left God though. Like I don't know how to explain. Like I think I went like a year, maybe 2 years, like atheist. Like I was just an atheist, bro. I didn't believe in anything. And I straight up felt like Christians were arrogant as fuck. I'm sorry for the language, but that's what I really thought. Cause I'm like, yo, like y'all just think y'all the high rollers, you know, like, you know, once you get like, I don't know how to explain, bro, but it's just crazy. Cause then later on, I don't know, but basically I just got really, I'm not gonna lie, I got brainwashed. And I say that because like, I mean, it's programming. Like when it comes to mainstream science and, you know, like when it comes to like evolution and stuff, like I don't believe in that. Like, I think there's a lot of contradictions to that, but that's just my opinion, you know. Science, I mean, if you look at like on a non-biased view, if you look at the evidence from both sides, I feel like divine intelligence just makes more sense compared to evolution, like nature. Like we were just, you know, random chemicals made from the, you know, from the what's it called, survival of the fittest when it comes to like Darwinism and stuff. Like I feel like that's just to brainwash you, survival of the fittest. Like I don't know about that Darwinism. And I believe like I believe Darwinism does brainwash people just in general, like in a way, you know, not all people, but a lot of people that I've met that believe in that, they're just not all people, like I said, but the ones that I have met, they just don't believe in God, bro, like at all. And I'm like, I gotta respect their opinion, you know. I understand. I mean, because of the hypocrisy too of the Christian, not even Christians too, but like Muslims and Jews, like too. But I don't know, bro. It's like I feel like there's a lot of hype in that and mainstream science. And I'm not talking about like if the earth is round or flat. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about like evolution, you know, and all this is like that we came from monkeys. Cause I'm like, I think there's a lot of contradiction in that. Like if we really came from monkeys. But like I said, like I've really gotten into science though. Like I was watching a lot of Carl Sagan stuff, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
You know, those type of guys. Like I was impressed. But then like I was working at a warehouse this one time. I was working at this warehouse during this period, and this one day I went into work, and it's crazy because like I was hanging with this coworker, this guy who used to work there, but he had gotten laid off or fired like maybe like a couple of weeks before that day. Since he wasn't working anymore, like, you know, like I would chill with him outside of work. Like I would go to his house and stuff, and we would just chill and stuff. But it's so weird because like when I would chill with him, like something deep down inside me was like, yo, watch out for this dude. Like, but see, something deep down inside me was telling me that, bro. And I'm like, why though, you know? Like this guy's like, I mean, he looks like a friend, you know, it was like a coworker. We've been chilling like for this past summer, you know, like we've been kicking it and chilling. And then I remember like I said, once he got laid off and stuff, I went into work one day and I was talking to a coworker. And I remember when I like, he mentioned something, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but I had to do something with like, it was just synchronicity, bro. So like later on, I remember like I was texting the coworker that I was telling you about that had left that job. I remember he was texting, we were texting, and the reason why I remember what the message was about is because I was trying to buy some weed off him. Like, but I was trying to pick up like, you know, some good amount at that time. But like, I remember when I was texting him, like I got that same feeling like I had with him when I was at his house. That same feeling deep down inside, like, but this time, like I heard it more clearly, like in my head, bro. It was like don't do it. Like, don't do it straight up. Don't do it. Like, and it was so weird, bro, because like it feels like God was talking to me that day. Like I know he was, bro. Like, you know how it is, you know, like on the mystic mind, like I know God was talking to me that day, bro. And I was just like, and I remember I was saying back, because remember I was an atheist at that time. I was skeptical about spirituality. And I remember I asked, you know, God, if you're real, like if you're, you know, if you're trying to tell me what you're trying to tell me right now, and show me something. And I remember like literally after like 3 minutes, bro, like literally 3 minutes after that, this coworker that I used to work with, his name was Patrick. I remember he pulled up in like one of those forklifts. Like he pulled up real quick too. He got out. He was like, "Hey, Danny." He's like, "Hey, bro, like you heard that that Tony robbed Mitch?" And I was like, "What?" Like, bro, I was just I've been so skeptical about this dude for a minute, bro. But he would seem so friendly to me, like a cool dude. And the whole time, bro, like I just found out he had just robbed somebody from one of our. He had just robbed a coworker. And I think the guy he robbed was the guy who helped me get that job there. Like he helped me get put on with that job.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, bro, like that is crazy, because I literally was just gonna pick up weed from this guy. Like I was. And literally like that time was like, don't do it. Like I've never had that, like I had those couple feelings, like those revelations before, but never like that. Like it was just like, don't do it. Like straight up, don't do it. Like it was just repeating in my head, like a voice speaking to me. And that's why I was like, yo, God, if you're real, like let me know right now. Cause like if I shouldn't like buy this from this guy, then let me know right now. Cause why would I feel this? You know, obviously there's something to it.
He was out there robbing people. robbing
coworkers. Yeah, like, and I was just like, dang, like thank goodness, bro. Because like no wonder why like I always had an iffy feeling when I was with him. Even though he seemed like a cool dude, like a chill dude, like, you know, like a cool bro, but apparently not. And I knew he was trying to rob me, because after that, I never heard from him again. Like he never texted me like, yo, what's good, bro? What you been on? Like nothing. You know, like that's how I know too, you were trying to rob me, bro. Like you've never hit me up to say how you been, bro, what you been on. All like, you know, never, nothing. Just silence, bro. That's how I'm like, yeah, I knew you were trying to rob me, bro. It's just crazy, because like I said, I believe that was all God, bro.
So did that incident, as much of an impact that it had on your life, that did that restore your faith in God just from that incident? Like
not restore completely, but I became skeptical about spirituality at first. Like, cause like I said, I wanted to believe, like I said, like, let me know right now. But I wanted to believe, but then again, I was skeptical because you know, like I said, I grew up in a Christian home, so we were always taught like, you know, like Jesus is the way and also and all this and that. But I was still confused about the gospel. So every time I hear about God, it just reminded me of Jesus. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so like at that time, like it restored my faith, but that was just like the beginning, you know? Like I became more open-minded, because the very first thing I started doing, bro, was like I started picking up like New Age books. I wanted to hear a different perspective about like what God is, or you know, I was confused because I feel like there was a creator out there, but I wasn't yet fully convinced about like God through like Jesus Christ, you know? I just was confused about that.
Yeah.
So basically, I started reading like New Age books, bro, like David Wilcock, like that Synchronicity Key.
Yeah.
And that really opened my mind, bro. I was just like, whoa. That's like the first time I ever heard somebody speak about like oneness with God. You know, like even though there's a lot of stuff in there I didn't agree with at all. Like, I mean, now I don't agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
But even now, like one thing I realized is like, yo, I don't think Christians like are the only ones that know God. Like I really don't. Like they do, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm open-minded about that, because like you said before, and from what I've seen through scripture, it's like, show me the fruit though. Like you have love, unconditional love. because in church they teach you like find out what this brother believes in, then like
accepting
accepting
it. Yeah,
accept him or not. And like I think that's kind of wrong.
See how good he is at repeating doctrine we teach him, and then accept him. If he's good at it, well, he could stay. But if he's not good at repeating doctrine, if he asks questions or has a different opinion, then we're gonna have to kick him to the curb.
Oh yeah, definitely, bro. And then I don't know, but one thing that like got me really into David Wilcock too is because he talked about aliens a lot. Like, well, that's a key thing he talked about in his book. And I don't know, I was confused because like I did believe in aliens, but then I was like, well, what are they? You know, like, so I started researching into that. And one thing I just definitely did not agree to, like, I agreed at first because David Wilcock said that like basically like Christ was just a made up story, or like they just like he just said other stuff like that I completely disagree with.
I've seen some footage of him talking good about Jesus, man.
I know, but like in his books though, like I remember like one thing that he said that like he channeled this alien Ra, like the alien Ra, the entity Ra, and like he said he asked the entity like who is Jesus, and I think the response was like, oh, you mean Yeshua or something like that. And I'm like, well, he was just like another ascendant, like basically like another master, like another.
He's just like you.
Like he said, like another, like basically like an alien entity or something that like reincarnated on Earth or something like that. And it was just like, I don't, you know, I did believe it at first because to me I was like, no, I feel like all
a lot of people say that. They're like, I think Jesus was an alien, bro. You know, it's like all this weird. I think he was this.
Yeah,
I don't.
But that's the thing though, bro. That's what led me to Jesus Christ a lot though, because like after that, reading all those books and I really thought I knew it all, like I had it all, like that's like I just started like I through my research and through my own personal experience, like it's the complete opposite of what David Wilcock was saying, bro. I'm like, bro, like you said all this stuff, but I'm seeing different stuff, bro. Like, and I'm asking and I really have asked God, reveal yourself to me. Like, I want to know who you are. Because there's people who say that you're like, you're just the universe, you know, like, or there's people who say like, you know, well, like I feel like there's all types of gods, you know, people have said that too. And I mean, there is some, I mean, I don't want to get into that, but I do believe in that in a way, but I still believe in one creator though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's the source.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, bro. It's just like one thing I'll definitely say is like after reading David Wilcock and reading his work, I'm not convinced like at all what he said, like how like Jesus was fake. I'm not convinced, bro. Like and I've asked God, like I said, reveal yourself to me because like I'm confused. Like there's Christians who say like you're this, and then there's Catholics who say you're this, and then there's Muslims who say you're this, and then there's Jews who say you're this. And then there's New Agers who say you're this.
That's why he breaks it down, and he asked Peter. As he asked Peter, he's asking us, "Who do you say I am?" They say you this, you know. They say I'm this. They say you're the Son of Man. They say you're Elijah come back reincarnated. It's like, okay, I don't care what they say about me. Who do you say I am? Who I am? Who am I to you? He said, you know, to me you're the Son of God. He said, you know what I'm saying, blessed are you because nobody told you that. Nobody told you to repeat that. You came up with that because God told you, because that's the essence that was revealed to you. So blessed are you. And it's the same, you know, he's asking us the same thing. Who do you say I am? Not who they say I am or this or that or who does David Wilcock say I am? He doesn't ask us that. Who do you say I am, Danny? You know?
Yo, definitely, bro. But don't get me wrong though, the dude has a lot of good stuff. I'm not gonna lie. Like he definitely
everybody has something, man, something to offer. I don't think anybody has it. You know, you have to follow the Spirit. You don't follow man. What the Bible says, curses the man who trusts in man. So we have to be able to follow the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit deals with men, but it's not. You don't follow a man, you follow a spirit. The true sons and daughters of God are those who are led by the Spirit of God. And the scriptures tell us all the leaders, all the pastors have gone astray. But he'll send us a pastor according to his heart. And I believe that pastor was Christ. He was the shepherd. He what the word means. And that's who Jesus was. So we're able to commune directly with the Father because he knew what was in men's heart. That's why Jesus had to come. They jacked everything up. Tricking people, charging people, all kind of just wickedness going on in the earth. So that's why Jesus had to come, you know what I'm saying? To make things right, to restore the foundations.
And I think it's really important too that we have this podcast because I think this is the main message. Like, who are we following though? Are we following men or are we following the Spirit? Like straight up, bro. Like there's just so much doctrines and different theologies that I've seen. I'm just like, yo, but at the end of the day, like, what's truth though? Like, you know, like I always hear so much different perspectives, and it always comes down to it. Okay, but what is the truth though? You know, like even the Bible, like Paul says that like we're not like the ministers of the letter, but ministers of the Spirit. Like we need to follow the Spirit, and that's another key verse too that we're gonna get on later on today about like ministers of the letter. I think that's very important, and I think yeah, like I said, we're gonna get into that later, bro. But basically after like my like researching with aliens and stuff, I just had a really huge awakening though. Like I don't want to talk about it too much, but just like the 9/11 conspiracy.
Yeah.
Like it really opened my eyes, bro, because it just teaches you straight up like you need to do your own research. Like you can never ever like just all this experience that I was having. Well, 9/11 was like the main one.
Yeah.
Like basically like you cannot trust anybody what they say. Like you have to find out for yourself if it's true or not. And I think 9/11 like that was just like the main like the last straw that like, okay, you know what? Like I'm kind of skeptical now about like the government, you know, because like especially because I grew up listening to Tupac a lot. Like that was like one of my biggest idols, bro, growing up, like listening to Tupac. If you listen to his songs, bro, like you will never find another Tupac like the way he was. Like this dude gave it all out. Like he would talk about like government corruption, like that the FBI has murdered all the black activists, and these are black activists, bro. Like a lot of them didn't even promote violence at all, and that's you know what I'm saying. So
yeah, you know what, man, and I'm not. This isn't fact, but this is just kind of theory to throw out there. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes my mind wanders and thinks that, like, what if some of these leaders who were murdered in front of the whole world were part of the two witnesses that were to come back and to testify? Whether it was Malcolm X and Martin Luther King or Tupac, and the whole world saw their death. You know, it said that everyone would see their death and stuff, and people who preached righteousness and equality and stuff, man, are murdered in front of the whole world. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe that, like, that's the legit, but what if, you know?
And I don't know, it just really awakened me because I started like research about real history and stuff too, because there's a lot of stuff that I grew up, we were taught in schools. I'm like, I don't think that's true at all. Like, you know, like and I'll just say this one thing, that's it. But like the main thing that got me really skeptical too was like Martin Luther King. Because like, since I was a kid, like they never really told us specific details how he was murdered. All they said was he was shot by an angry white guy, like a racist white guy, and that he was angry and he shot him, and that's about it. But then like once I started like, I think last year, I started reading books like from his lawyer, like, and he's actually the lawyer was actually the journalist, like the actual journalist who started exposing the Vietnam Wars, who started like posting up photos like this is what actually is going on in Vietnam, like don't believe what the media is telling you. And that's how they got along, like Martin Luther King, because he was anti-war, bro, like really anti-war. A lot of people don't understand that like back in the day, because in school they will tell us like, oh, the government basically like we've always helped Martin Luther King, like we've always looked at him as like a friend or like, you know, like something like a hero. That's not true, bro. The government the government had Martin Luther King as like one of the top men wanted in the FBI. And he never promoted violence.
Yeah.
Like that just shows you like,
man, I mean, when you look at those guys, you look at Martin Luther King, you look at any leader who rises up, man, usually it's their own people who betray them. Whether they get jealous or they get envious or what. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Jesus Christ, His
That's
own
true,
people
though.
betray him.
Very
They want him
true.
dead.
Because Martin Luther King, like, in his books, if you read like the book that his lawyer made, like he gave a lot of proof and even documentation that you can look up for yourself that like the government did kill Martin Luther King. Like his family won in 1999 in a civil court, proving that. Like
Yes.
the judge said like it was 70% the government and 30% of the owner of the restaurant that the owner like helped like set up this operation. Because if you look at their story, they say like Martin Luther that the shooter was coming from like a window at a hotel room, something like that, or a bathroom. No, that's not true. It's not true at all. Like, and I think like people should be skeptical because it's like really like Martin Luther King, like he never promoted violence, bro. Like, he never did. Like there's just a lot of hatred because like documentation from CIA calling him a threat and a communist because he was against the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
Like that's petty, bro. That is super petty. Like the way that like J. Edgar Hoover, like the director of the FBI at that time, like the way they did him bogus, like not just him but all other black activists. And it just shows you like I said, like you can't trust like what the mainstream story is all the time. You know, you just can't trust it.
No. I'm with you on that. That was a big thing for me, man. 9/11. I watched what was it? Fahrenheit 9/11. I watched that, and that's just on the outskirts stuff. That's just like little stuff, you know. But
what was his name again? The guy who made
Michael Moore.
Yeah,
that's his works. Yeah. I liked his early stuff, man. But yeah, it just I don't know. It showed me how to have empathy for other people and to put myself in their shoes of seeing what we were doing in other countries and invading and what the troops were doing and all just wickedness, man, just straight wickedness, you know. So Fahrenheit 9/11 was a big one for me at first to just begin to get into Alex Jones and then trying to get into my nationality, finding out, you know, doing study about the Native American tribe that I was on, that I'm from, and running into work from the Black Hebrew Israelites and hearing them talk about the tribe of Gad, which is from the North American Indians. And when they said that, Holy Spirit hit me so strong, dude. And well, because I was doing so much research about it as well, and I ran into them talking about that, and I was like, I was in, and I got involved with those guys and studying nationality and all that stuff. The tribes of Israel, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think like Immortal Technique put it like really well, dude. He said the government likes to play down historical facts, and that's true, dude. They do. Like they like to downplay. They attack like, oh, it never really happened, but like, come on, bro. Like, and that's I always say this though: the truth will always prevail. You know, like doesn't matter whether you like it or not. Like, it's just like that, bro.
I think it will.
But yeah, though. But after 9/11, though, it really was a awakening for me though about just the world. And then like probably after that is when like I started gaining my belief in Christ again, just because of like being in prayer and asking him like, God, please, like, I want to know who you are. Like, and I remember like just sitting there, bro, and like just crying, bro. Cause like I felt that before, like how everybody says, like when you get like the Holy Spirit and the Spirit hits you and you start crying, like I've gotten that, bro. And that's why I believe it 100%. Like, you know, I don't know everything, but I definitely believe in that. Like, and after asking God, like, God, reveal yourself to me, because I don't know who you are, man. There's so many people, so many different ideas. And then the more I started trusting in that, and then it got to a point where like I started going back to church again, and then ended up getting baptized in 2016. And it was a special moment, and it was so weird, bro, because we were just talking about like sleep paralysis. Because after I got baptized, I remember like the very next day, bro, I had that experience again, and I've never had that after like so many years. Like
I think that's my story too, bro. I think the exact same thing happened to me.
like the exact same thing. Like after so many years, I'm not experiencing that, and all of a sudden I got hit again. But this time after I just got baptized, that's insane. Because now you think about like, yo, this spiritual warfare is real.
Oh yeah.
Holy crap, bro. Because now it's like, okay, it's on now. Like, like it's on. Holy crap. Because, like, you just never really get that. You really don't get that type of stuff. Like, after you get baptized, and all of a sudden, like, whoa, we're back to the same scenario again.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird. But now, after, like, when I was in church, though, like, I don't know how to explain it, bro, but, like, when I was in church, like, I liked the people that I was with around, like, some of the church members, they were really, like, they were friendly, but there was just, the only person that like I had a problem with a little bit was just like the pastor there.
I like the people, but I didn't like the pastor.
just me and him, like we got along really well. Like I'm not gonna lie, that dude's a really good brother, but just bro, it's just some of his preaching. It's just like, bro, like you can't say that, bro. And I know it wasn't just me because after I left that church, and basically like short story, like he kicked me under the bus because I disagree with him about weed. Like I just told him, like I don't believe it's a sin. I definitely believe it's a sin if you put that before God. I mean, that's no brainer. But like he was like, no, like you're deceived. Like, and then he would like text me, bro, and just like all these like different like websites that he went on to, and not even they're like amateur websites, bro. Just Christians
to find out what he wanted to find. Yeah.
Smoking weed and like all this and like
weed is linked to demonic possessions and
I was like, bro, like that turned me off, bro. Like you're like sending me those type of messages to my phone because I don't agree with you. Like I don't know that there I was like I started getting like iffy about that because I was like,
yeah, you become a threat because then you might go through and start telling some of the other members, that it's okay to smoke weed and God is okay with it. And so you become a threat to that man's business.
Yeah, bro. And I mean, I understand though, because like his background, he used to be addicted. I mean, he had problems with drug abuse.
Yeah.
I completely understand that.
Yep.
But the drug abuse that his drug of choice though is nothing compared to like what weed is. I don't want to put his business out like that, but I was just like, bro, like I understand that, but it's just really different scenarios.
Really different scenarios. We covered that on the that one podcast with Mark Moore, Christopher, projecting.
Oh yeah.
Because you have a bad experience, I say, well, my experience has been good. I don't know what you're talking about. And you're like, no, it's not. Trust me. Listen.
Yeah, bro. And then like one time I just came into church one day, and it was like after like that time he was sending me those text messages. And I remember I was sitting there and he was preaching, and all of a sudden he just like, and I remember this to this day, bro. He was like, and I don't know, because I was there. Like I said, I don't know. But first he was like, let's open up our Bibles and let's read. Like I think it was like First Peter or First John. I don't know. But
be sober minded.
But that one verse when he was like, anybody who sins is of the devil.
Yeah.
And like all this and that. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But then like once he started preaching, he was just like, all of a sudden he was just like, oh, and then we have those type of people who think they can do what they want because it's not quoted in the Bible. And I'm like, damn, bro, like you're petty, because I actually had at one point did tell him that. I'm like, well, bro, show me a verse then where it says that, and I'll believe you. Because
that's manipulation,
I see
bro. They used to, like, when I was coming out of the church and stuff, they would like, talk about David Wilcock and it's witchcraft and you're dealing with psychics and witchcraft and all this kind of stuff. That's true witchcraft is manipulation, and you're up there from a pulpit manipulating people and using your seat of authority to call you out, to call a member out from the pulpit, dude, and to make people laugh at you. I'm pretty sure he had people laughing and who thinks they could do that? And he's talking to you. I've had that happen on many occasions, and that's demonic, dude. That's witchcraft, bro. For real.
It was just so disrespectful because after the sermon, like he came up and shook my hand. He was just like, I'm glad you're here. And I'm like, bro, like what? Like what? Who does that, bro? Who does that? That's dirty, so petty. And then like after that day, bro, like
they good businessmen, bro. They know how to run a business. They got to get you out of there.
I was like, bro, I'm out of there. Like, I didn't come back the next day. He would text me like, yo, bro, like, are you okay? Like, why aren't you answering my calls? I'm like, bro, like, do I need to explain myself to you? Like, you know what you did. Like, and I didn't want to answer him back. But at that time, though, I still see God and prayed, like, God, am I deceived? Or, like, is he right? Because, I mean, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
The Bible says, like, the devil will play mind tricks with you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, God, am I deceived? I really pray that. Because I'm like, God, like, if I'm deceived,
it's a good
then
prayer.
I'll go back. But if I'm not going back. And I really prayed for a sign, and I did get my sign, bro, because a week later, this other member from church, this girl that I met there, she was in the choir, and she had her fiance there too. She has a fiance. Well, I think they're married now, but she has a kid too with him, and they would go to the church. They were really cool people, nice, loving people. And she texted me, bro, like after like a week, maybe 2 weeks after I stopped going to that church. She wanted to ask why I left the church. And I told her, I'm like, well, I don't want to get into too much detail, but it's because like I just do not agree with everything that pastor says. It's just, I don't agree with it at all. And it's just like, there's a lot of times I stand there and I'm like, bro, like, what are you saying? And the thing is, like, after I said that, she was like, you know what? I've gotten the same thing too, though. Trust me, you're not the only one. And I'm like, what? Like, but you're not even like, you don't even smoke weed. Like, you're in the choir. And like, she didn't want to go in specific detail, but she said straight up that like, no, she's gotten that too. Like she's been in the sermon and she's hearing him preach and she's like, and she gets mad because she's like, why are you preaching that? Like,
yeah, my old pastor would do that. And then he would do Facebook posts too. This joker would go on Facebook after you tell him something. He'll go on Facebook and make a big long post about it, or he'll start talking. He would like speak on things from the pulpit to sway the members, see thing his way. Some of y'all don't think it should be done like that. And it would just get into so much craziness, man, of like politics and trying to sway people. You know, because man, I've seen that a lot. It's not fun at all.
I know, bro. And then I basically got my revelation though, because I ended up finding out later that she left the church, like the girl in the choir. She left the church with her family, and they started singing in a new church. And she never wanted to explain why, but I knew why. Like, it's obvious. It's just like because not because he's like against weed. It's not that, but it's just like some of his preaching is like, bro, like all I hear is condemnation.
Yeah.
Like that's all I hear is condemnation. Like, you don't do this. This was gonna happen. Like other churches, like, and there was some truth that he was saying, but at the end of the day, I'm like, bro, like, I don't, like, we can't automatically assume that like that they're gonna go to hell for sure. Like, like I got really skeptical about that because I'm like, if that's the reason why you believe in God, then because of you're fear to go to hell. I started getting skeptical about that for myself because I mean I did believe it that at one point. I'm like, damn, like, do I love Jesus because he's Lord, or do I love him because he's gonna
kill me?
Bro, he's gonna have me burn forever in a lake of fire.
Yeah.
Like, where's the love in that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just really, it wasn't until like later, bro, like I started listening to you, like, because after I left the church, like around that time, I started listening to you more. And I'm not gonna lie, bro. At first, I was like skeptical about you because I was like, man, what is this dude talking about, bro? But then once I started listening to your podcast more, and I started noticing your personality and that same vibe that I got from the Spirit, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try something different this time because the church always teaches to like look at what they believe first, and what they're promoting or whatever, and then for yourself, judge for yourself if whether or not you're gonna accept him or not, as a brother.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, I got out of that. I was like, nah, you know what? Nah. You know what? The church did me bogus. Like, I think there's a lot of hypocrisy that the church doesn't want to talk about. I think everybody knows it too. Not everybody, but a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people just don't want to speak up about it. But nah, bro, it's just, I started listening to your podcast, and then I remember the first episode, bro. It was Busy Bone from Bone Thugs.
The crazy first episode.
And then I remember listening. I was listening to it. And I was like, damn. I'm like,
Said, man, and you know what? You know what I'm saying? In the galaxy bump, it's gonna be a galaxy bump.
I remember at one point he was like, yeah, that's why the Earth is 4.5 billion years old. And I was like, this dude.
It's so funny.
And no, yeah, bro. But so I don't know. Once I started listening to your podcast, though, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start listening to this dude because I started seeing you interviewing like Dr. Michael Heiser, and I'm like, dang, I know, I've read some of his work before, so like, I don't know, I was curious, so I started listening to your podcast more, and I'm like, you know what, take that bias stuff away, you know, like throw that out, like, because I feel like that never goes anywhere. Like, see it with an open mind. So I started going with that tactic, and it worked out pretty well, bro, a lot, but. Like I said, like after like in 2017, like after the Cubs won the World Series that year in 2016, like I remember on Christmas Day, bro, like no, on Christmas Eve, like I was with my cousin and he told me, he was like, yo, did you know that that grandma like has only like a couple months left? And I was like, what? Like, bro, like, because my grandma has had liver cancer for the past 4 or 5 years at that time. And I knew things were like getting really serious, but I didn't know it was that serious, like that soon. So like, I remember when he told me that, bro, like my heart just like sank, bro. I was like brokenhearted. I was like, whoa, what? Because I've experienced losing like friends that I've known, but never like my grandma, like somebody like I've known since I was a baby. Like, you know, it's my grandma. It's crazy, bro. And I don't know, that's just like 2017 came and she ended up dying on my cousin's birthday. And I don't know, it was just really depressing, bro, because before those days, the couple of days before she passed, I had went to go see her out in Chicago because I live in the suburbs right now, outside of Chicago. So I went to the city to go see her, and I just didn't like what I saw, bro. Like just her like in pain and like groaning, like that depressed me, bro. Like I don't know how they just traumatized me because I've never really seen that from like a loved one. That really traumatized me. And like I remember like after that, I don't know, it just I like fell into a deep depression, bro. Started drinking again, and then I remember I gained a lot of weight too, bro. Like I think I must have gained like maybe 25, 30 pounds, bro. I'm not gonna lie. And then like I don't know, like what really did it though was like what really like was I started getting into like deeper mysteries in the Bible, bro. Was that time you had what's his name?
Ron Godawa?
No, Dan.
Dan,
Dan
okay.
Kaminsky.
Yeah.
Yeah, him. I remember when you had him on, I was listening to what he was saying. I'm like, bro, everything that he was saying, I'm like, I felt that before. I just never had anybody. I've never seen anybody put into words like that.
Yeah.
And especially coming from a Christian perspective.
Yeah.
I never heard of that, bro. You know, because I've heard it from like New Age, some New Agers, and other stuff, but from a Christian perspective, like I'm like, yo, like, you know what? Like, I don't know. From that day though, I remember that. Like, I was listening to that episode in my car. And I was just like, bro, like, I feel like God is talking to me. Like I'm about to get revealed something really soon, but I need to embrace it. And once I embrace it, I need to apply it to what that mystery is.
Yeah.
And then like, bro, like, and then like, so after listening to that podcast, I started praying again and like fasting. And I was being pretty genuine about it too. Like I really started fasting just to ask God, like, I want to know, like, because I know there's more stuff in the Bible. There has to be more. I don't think we're being told like the truth in church. Because I was being really skeptical, bro. You know, like how can it be that like I said, like there's just so many denominations, bro, so many doctrines.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be one single truth that like Christ really came to teach, and what makes more sense compared to all of those doctrines. Because it does though, like it really does though. I think that's why I believe it's truth. Like can't deny it. And basically though, bro, like my biggest revelation I ever had in life, bro, was realizing who I really was, bro. Like my true identity. I feel like that's very important. Like, so many people right now are so depressed, like don't even know what's going on in life because they don't even know who they are. Like, they don't understand their true identity.
Yeah.
And when I like started realizing who I really was, that was so deep, bro. And it just changed my perspective in life, like totally. Because it was like, because it was like something that I've always knew since I was a kid too. Because remember I told you, like, well, my psychedelic trips too, like I started like thinking the same thing, like, yo, I feel like I'm the same person, like, as everyone else. And on a mystical level, bro, on a straight mystical level. And how can you explain that? And then later on, like 4 or 5 years later, you get that revelation. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
That's super crazy.
We are one body, man. We're one people. Like literally, even when Jesus, you know, I relate that back to the body of Christ, how we all are different parts of that body, but that body is one. We're all one. That's what the flower of life symbol that I wear on my necklace. You know what I'm saying? All of these circles that are touching and connected together all make up of one living organism. They're all, I am you, you are me. Everyone is an expression of yourself, you know? And that's why, you know, it goes back to when people disagree with you or people lash out at you, it's usually not because something you did, it's because you represent or remind them about something that they don't like within themselves. And so you're an expression of them that they don't like about themselves, whether you have too much freedom or you have too much liberty or you have too much grace or you're not as good as they are, you don't work hard enough, or whatever the case is that they don't like about themselves. You represent that, and it causes them to lash out.
Yup, no doubt, bro. But I think it's very important though that, like, because what really motivated me, bro, was also like you telling. I remember like when you were interviewing Dan, you told him straight up, like, "Yo, there's nobody talking about this," and like in the church, like in a Christian circle, and I'm like, "Yo, straight up, like I've heard about oneness with God, being one with the Creator, but I've never heard it from like a Christian perspective."
Yeah,
so I'm like, what? Like,
I believe,
to me, I feel like,
I believe that's why my show's thriving. I think that's why you're listening to it. If you had 17 different shows to pick from with this content, the stuff you're going through, what you're looking for, what you need, like you would, you might not listen to me, but you're resonating with something because nobody's saying it. You know, that's why people stand out. Like, ain't nobody talking about this. Why is this? You know what I'm saying? And come and talking about this stuff, being open with it, being okay with it from a Christian perspective and with it. I represent Christ, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not ashamed of the gospel. I'm not ashamed of that. And to talk about that as a Christian and be okay with it, you know, and I really do think that that's why many of us are thriving now. And as I'm doing it, more people are going to begin to do it. I understand that, but I definitely have been a forerunner, and I know that's why I stand out. You know, and it's different. And the New Agers who don't like Jesus, they might not like it. They might not like you when you talk about Christ, or the Christians might not like it when you interview a New Ager or whatever the case is. Everybody wants it kind of catered and detailed just to them, but there's a mixture there, man. It's not just one. It's not this way or that way. It's a little bit of all of it. It's an eclectic blend of just spirituality and truth and love, and just dealing with people. You know what I'm saying? All men.
The one thing I like about the New Agers is like they're more open-minded when it comes to like how do I say it? Like aliens and like what is the word? Like astrology and stuff, you know, like
all the stuff that's in the Bible, but the Christians refuse to talk about, or they demonize if they do talk about it.
Yeah, bro. People don't even realize that like what's it called? The three wise men. I mean, we don't even know there were three wise men. That's what tradition has been saying. But like, people don't even know like the wise men that saw the star and went to go present Jesus, like Christ, those gifts. The Bible says like, if you look up the original language, they were astrologers, dude.
Yeah.
People don't know that.
Wizards.
Some people be like, oh no, it was just astronomy. I'm like, nah, bro. It was astrology.
They were wizards, man. They followed the stars to find out where Jesus was going to be born.
Because in Spanish, like when we say the three wise men, we say los reyes magos. Magos means a magician.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's obvious. I mean, it's obvious, bro. People just don't like, oh, no, I don't know. Some people like, it's just astronomy. I'm like, I don't think so. But no, bro, like, no, like you said, bro, you are definitely a forerunner though in this, because I've never really like heard this from a Christian perspective. I try to stay away from that because like I thought at one point it was like blasphemy. Like, what?
Yeah.
You're claiming to be like, you're basically claiming to be God, like the creator, like one with him. That's the same thing they crucified Jesus, because he claimed that he was one with the Father. And little do Christians know that that's what he actually taught to his disciples. I mean, people need to understand, like, yo,
I don't even think that he was telling them that I am one with the Father. I think he was telling us that we are one with the Father. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, definitely. No, that's what I'm trying to say. Like all of us, like we're all one. Like that's the deepest secret he gave to his disciples.
Yeah,
that's why he told them, like, yo, when I tell you the secrets, but to the others, when I speak to a crowd, I speak it in a parable.
Yeah,
and people don't understand that. Like, how is it that like Jesus was able to like hold his ground against like the top lawyers, the Pharisees? These were people who would consider like the law, like the lawyers, like the experts in the law. Like that was their job. And yet Jesus came and taught them, like, yo, y'all don't know nothing. Like, y'all think y'all know the Torah, really? Like, and that's why I think it's really important, bro, that like I think we teach, and this is a good concept that you brought up like last year too, that I've been paying attention closely, is that the Bible is full of parables. Probably most of it is parables, like the Old Testament.
Yeah.
And I know some people don't want to agree with that, but it's just like there's a lot of evidence through Scripture that tells us that the Bible, like a lot of the Old Testament, is just a lot of it's parables and riddles. But people don't know, but like the early church, they never taught that every scripture should be read in a bare letter, like on a strict literal perspective. Like people don't understand it. Like people like, for instance, like the church father, I think his name is Origen. Like he was considered like the best early church father because of his like, just because of him defending the Christian faith. Because at that time, like I don't know if you studied some of the history about this, but they said at that time, like the pagan philosophers around that time started like attacking Christianity because they were saying like, oh, well, like this and this and that. And then it was like Origen was one of the most earliest church fathers who came and sat down and broke it down. Like, what is it really about? And one of the things he brought up, like straight up, is like that, like you cannot read every Bible, like especially like in the Old Testament too. Like you cannot read every scripture through a bare letter, and that means literally like a history book. You can't do that. And then one of the reasons why he said that is because like people get a wrong concept, like a wrong idea about God. And I think it is true. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen like atheists like Richard Dawkins and like other type of like atheist scholars.
Yeah.
Like the first thing they do when they start attacking the Bible is they go straight to the Old Testament. They're like, oh, like God is a loving God, and like, oh, what about this? Like God like put you to death, like put you to death because you had sex with a man, or a virgin gets put to death at her wedding day because she wasn't a virgin. I mean, that is skeptical, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That's why I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, there has to be something else, man.
And
the allegory makes perfect sense, dude. If you look at the reasoning behind it and who these people or nations that the Israelites destroyed, what they represent. They represent sin and strongholds and things that go on in our lives and things that we face, and it makes a lot more sense.
Exactly,
people,
bro. And that's the thing,
though.
Take
it literal, but it's not, man. It really isn't. There's no proof that it is. Oh, yes, they are. They found Noah's Ark. They found wood that was burnt up in the mountains.
Yeah, exactly.
The only way that wood can get there is if there was a flood and the boat was trapped up there from the flood, then whatever you can just to bite and hope that it's real and hope that I don't believe a lie. There's no power in it, if it didn't exist. The power is in the myth. The power is in the allegory and applying those stories. If you don't apply it, the truth that all the guests that I have on this show, if you don't apply the truth to your life and understand what we're talking about and make it tangible for you, you miss the point. If you're reading the Bible as a history book and you're not applying the principles, you missed the point. You're doing it wrong.
Oh yeah, dude, definitely. I mean, I think history has proven that, dude. Look at all the religious wars.
Oh,
Look at all this like hypocrisy. Just because people said it's in the Bible, like that's dangerous, bro. And that's why, like, when I was reading the early church fathers' works, like they straight up said, like, yo, you cannot read that book as a history book at all, like, because it's just so many contradictions to God's loving nature. And remember, the Bible says that like God never changes; like He's always been the same. So how do you how do you compare it to like you know like an angry God in the Old Testament because you didn't obey what I said?
And in the New Testament, He's a loving God. I changed my mind.
Compared to the New Testament, well, and that is a good idea. Like, I mean, that is a good good concept to remember. Like, how do you compare like the God of the Old Testament to the God of the New Testament?
So much so that the Gnostics will say that was a different God. They can't fathom that. They don't understand the allegory, so they'll say that was a different God. That was Yahweh, and Yahweh was judged for being angry and being psychopathic and all this stuff. But when you look at it, it talks about we're created in the image and likeness of God. That so-called Yahweh, who is a psychopath, as you say, you act just like him. You get angry. You regret that you did something. You repent. You feel sorrow. You get mad. You speak out. All of the things that Yahweh did, we do, man. We're made in that image and expression, but they say that was a different God that was judged and all of this kind of stuff. They have to come up with something to explain it. And I remember, you know, Dan tried to get me into that for so long, and getting into that was a different God. Yahweh was a different God, bro. You know, and always I'm like, no, man, there's two different gods, bro. Yahweh and Jehovah, you know. Like, it's insane.
Oh yeah, bro. But I think that's one thing that like a lot of church people, like just the church in general, doesn't pay attention to. And I think that's a lot of reason why a lot of people just get a misinterpretation like of what the Bible really is about. Because most people are just like, who read the Bible literally, they're just like, dude, I want nothing to do with this. Like, what kind of God would do this and that? And I mean,
no history book that has as much encoded in it as the Bible. There's no way you're going to read. There's no way you're just going to journal your trip to the doctor's office. And every sentence is going to be jam-packed with revelation about knowledge of self, or about spirituality, with code words and keywords that have deeper meanings about you and your psyche and your understanding. History books aren't written that way. There's no way that the Bible just happens to have all of that stuff hidden within it. And that's just telling history, man. Just telling history. No, it's not. That has so much allegory and hidden meaning and things that you have to dig for and understand, and you won't understand it until you have gone through this. You won't understand King David's battle against Goliath until you faced your own Goliaths. Until you face your own giants, you'll have no idea what that story's talking about. But when you face your giants and that whatever that giant is in your life, your drug addiction, your porn addiction, until you face that giant, you have no idea what that allegory means. And you'll read it as a history book. In the same way for each one of the wars and the different ways they overcame and the promises and the setbacks and all of that stuff. You won't get it until you go through it and understand the meaning of the allegory. The hero's journey, man. It's our journey.
Oh yeah, definitely, bro. You know, one thing that like I think the church has misread or like ignored. But there's a passage in the Bible where I think, and this is one teaching too that gets so misinterpreted in churches because I've seen it getting taught. But like, you know how Jesus, when he would bring up about divorce, like he'll just all of a sudden bring about, like just talk about marriage.
Yeah.
And, you know, like a lot of people will say like, cause you know, I think cause you know, the verse where Jesus says like any man who, like not any man, but like he who like leaves his wife or his wife leaves him for another man has committed adultery already.
Yeah.
Or like, well, a lot of people misinterpret that and go like, well, see, that's why you can't get married. Like you can't get married. Like, I mean, you can't get remarried if you get a divorce. Like if you got a divorce, like you have to stay widow because there's a sin. Jesus said you can't get married, you know? And like, dude, that's not true. You know, like whenever Jesus talks about like marriage, like divorcement, like any man who, like any person who like leaves his wife for another man has committed adultery. Like, he's talking about like like a mystical experience where like when you become one with Christ, you become one flesh with him. Like that's why the Bible says like let what God joined together, let no man separate. And yet people say like, no, he's talking about marriage. Like really, like Jesus really said like nobody can divorce like their spouse or their husband or whatever, like because unless it's for sexual immorality, like it doesn't make sense. Because to me it's like, well then that means I guess like they can do any bad stuff towards their spouse except, you know, but unless they didn't do any sexual immorality, then they can't get divorced. And I'm like, that's pretty messed up. Because I seen it, bro. Like church teacher, like you can't get married again.
Oh yeah,
you can't get married. Jesus said like.
Well, you know, that's where a lot of the non-denominational churches come from. Hey, what church? What kind of church you go to? Well, I go to a non-denominational, and most people don't understand that that's a dude who wanted to start a church who has been divorced. But through the Baptist and Assemblies of God, Pentecostal, if you've been divorced, you can't be a pastor. So, but under non-denominational, you're not covered under those things. You're covered under other non-denominational churches, which the majority of the time have been the guys who have had divorces.
Yeah, bro. And I just want to add something to that too. But like, that's why in the scripture says too, I believe it's like in Matthew 14 or 17. I'm not sure, but it says it somewhere in Matthew. But like when Jesus is talking about marriage, like the Pharisees said to Jesus, like, okay, well, if God is not permitting divorce, then why does Moses say in the law that we can divorce our spouse? Like we can give her a certificate and send her out. And you know what Jesus said straight up? Said he's like, because Moses let you be, like, I think it said like Moses let you be deceived because of your hardness of your heart, because that scripture was not what it was originally intended of what you think it is. And I'm like, see, that's what I'm saying. Like everybody keeps reading everything literally. Like
yeah,
even Jesus said himself, he said,
couldn't grasp
Moses,
it, man.
He said, because of your hardness of your heart, Moses let you do those stuff. Like that's crazy, bro. Like he said, because of your hardness of your heart, you couldn't understand what was originally the original interpretation of it.
Even the disciples, Jesus was teaching them. He said, "Look, there's so much I want to tell you, so much I want to impart to you guys, but you aren't ready. Like I can't tell you. You guys would kill me. You probably would kill me if I told you. You know what I'm saying?" And so he has to break it down in parables and just give them a little bit. It's like, you know that parable? This is what I really meant. I know I said this, but this is a picture. This is about you. You know, the seed is your faith and these type of things. And he hid it within story. And that's how the Bible is written. It's written in code. It's written in story. And it's for those who want to study, who want to ask the questions. I mean, look at the mystery schools and all of that stuff. It's hidden. You have to be initiated. Like, there's so much power. Look at the Book of Eli, that movie. Whoever has the book, whoever has the knowledge of the book, rules the world.
That's a powerful movie.
Yeah. It's all symbolic, man.
Oh, yeah.
Danny, I'm gonna have to call it a night, man. It's been a long one here. I want to go ahead and plug your Facebook page, man. If anybody wants to check out your work and what you're doing, because you're working on a book where you're going to be going into some detail about the very thing that we're talking about right now. If you want to kind of plug that a little bit, let people know where you are with the book and where they can follow your work at, man, that'd be awesome.
For sure, bro. Well, my Facebook, you can find me in hold on, let me look up my Facebook name, because I just know like my
I'll find it. I'll find it for you.
I think it's like Guerrero 832, something like that, or maybe I'm wrong.
It is Danny.Guerrero.3998. But just type in Danny Guerrero on Facebook and you'll see his beautiful mug there. Find him on Facebook. Yeah, man. So as far as the book is concerned, do you have a working title, a name that you're going with?
Yeah, the book is called The Inner Jerusalem, a Hidden Enigma.
Awesome. So, I like that title.
Oh yeah, sounds bro. Like that's what I'm saying. And
sounds like a song.
There's other books I want to write too, though. Like I want to, like that specific book though. I just want to touch about what did Jesus really teach though, because there's just so much. There's so much doctrine. It's like it's ridiculous. Like I don't think we're being one body. It's like the church should be. You know, like the whole church. Just so many different perspectives, and I just want to give people like people who are confused about the gospel too, you know, just in general, like, because I know there's people out there who like, I believe in Jesus, but I don't understand it though a lot. Like, you know, like I don't understand the whole eternal hell, like why. And then some people just get confused, you know. So basically, I'm just writing this book for truth seekers, you know, like you and me, because I mean, anybody who thinks like they're sad, they know what's good already with Christ, like they know everything. They're not gonna pick up that book. That book is intentionally for people who are confused about the gospel, but who want to know more and who know deep down inside they're not being told everything in church. Just, you know. And then the next book, I'm basically just gonna write another book that I want to plan on working on as soon as I'm done with this one. It just basically goes into details about like how all prophecies came true. And I believe that's really important because like just from what I've seen, bro, like for instance, like what's his name?
Brian Godawa?
No, yeah.
I keep bringing his name up because
like those cult leaders, bro. They're like like Jim Jones and like those other like what was those other cult? Like I know there's been other cult. There's been a lot of cult groups, bro, who've like taken advantage of people because of that. Who program people? Oh, we're in the end times now. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I was a part of the.
Dude, it's not healthy, bro. It's just not.
I was a part of a cult that did that. Yeah.
I want to write this book too, because of that too. You know, because I will see God in prayer, and I'm like, God, why do you want me to write this book too, though? Like, because I do feel like from my perspective, like it's pretty accurate. I mean, you can't deny it. Like if you read from like Josephus, like the historian, like the Jewish historian Josephus, compare his work to what Jesus said and how it's all turned out, like how the Roman army was going to invade Jerusalem, exactly what Jesus said, and how like there's just more details to it too. Yeah, but just accurate information that John said, like who the Antichrist was at that time.
Revelation was like covering the Old Testament, the stories, and there's history that's encoded in Revelation, and there's future stuff. But like you said, it already happened.
Exactly, and I think it's very important that we talk about this, bro, because I don't know, I've seen a lot of like division because of that too, especially because of that.
Yeah, I've been dropping Brian Godawa's name, which he you know, I had him on the show. He believes that. And he's going to be on the show, and I think in next week or the week after, I'm going to have him back on. So he's got another book he wrote that's a fiction book, but it's based off of people who are surviving at the end of the world. That already happened. You know what I'm saying? And he talks about these other people watching all of this stuff take place and happen and stuff. So it's really cool. He's going to be back on. We're going to be discussing that. There's a bunch of people, man, who are into that and to you know what I'm saying, the unity doctrine that Christ died for all, you know what I'm saying? And everybody's going to inherit that. So I'm going to have some more people on talking about this stuff. So it's going to be really good, man. Look forward to reading your book once you get it done, and we'll have you back on, man, to promote it and talk about it, bro. Oh, yeah, no, definitely, bro. Just thank you again, bro, for everything, you know, everything you've done. And thank you for this opportunity interviewing me on your podcast. Oh, man. It's a beautiful conversation. That's how this podcast was started, was just having conversations with brothers, man, that people would, I would hope that people would be privy to listen in on. We'd have awesome conversations and be like, man, I wish we recorded that conversation. We talked for 2-3 hours, dropping jewels and gems and deep revelation and Holy Spirit using you while you're talking. And it's like, it's gone. Like we had that moment, but I wish we could record it and give it to people. So now, essentially what we're doing now is just having that conversation, man, with brothers and sisters all over the world, and people are privy to sit in on it, and things move in your spirit. You're like, man, I've been feeling the same way, man. I feel like I'm just like Danny, or whatever the case is, you know what I'm saying? So it's good stuff, man. I appreciate you, brother. We'll do it again soon, man. Thank you for everything. Bro. All right, with that, I'm going to say shalom, shalom, and thanks everybody for hanging out. Thanks everybody for watching. Shout out to Pastor and shalom, guys. Thank you guys for all the support. Peace, peace.
Your way so much higher than mine, so much higher than mine, so much deeper than mine, so much deeper than mine. Well, that does it for
this episode, folks. To hear more episodes of the Truth Seeker podcast, head over to truthseeker.com. And if you're wanting to support the show and get rewards, go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/truthseeker.